Mr. Tatar, how will you improve education in this state, or do you believe it doesn't need much improvement, that we're already a tip-top class one education state?
You know, I taught for 31 years, and no, I don't think that we're anywhere near where we should be. But I believe that as long as you consider sending that information to Washington and to Lansing and not bringing it into the local communities where the parents are involved, you're not going to ever get a good educational system. Got to get rid of Common Core, because Common Core is not productive. You got to get rid of Child Left Behind. You got to get the federal government out of education. You got to get the state government out of education and bring it back to the local communities, because you can have parents involved in the local communities.
But doesn't the Constitution of the state of Michigan say that the state is ultimately in charge of students getting a good education?
I can go along with that, but they can't be doing curriculum. The curriculum has to come from the local levels, where parents are involved.
So you're saying make sure the state's responsibility is to make sure that local is giving people a good education, but not drilling down to the point of saying you got to take this, 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 and that.
That is correct. That is correct.
So would you get rid of the State Board of Education?
Pare it down considerably, yes. Getting rid of it, that would be something I would have to think about.
Skilled trades, are we doing enough? The governor just came out with his Marshall Plan, $100 million, going into the different high schools, creating people applying for grants to try to get more young people into the skilled trades?
When I was in my heyday in the 80s and 90s, there was home construction that I was teaching kids how to build houses. There was the building trades, building maintenance, industrial arts programs for those kids that didn't want to deal with a pencil and didn't want to sit in a classroom and listen to a teacher talk about math or English or social studies or how to read or any of that. Get them on, I got those same kids that couldn't handle it in the classroom, put them on the job site, gave them a blueprint, and all of a sudden they could do math. All of a sudden they could read. They could figure out what to do and how to put things together. And they became very educated in that area. We talked a lot about in the educational system about cross-training from science to social studies to English, so there would be a cross-training between the departments or between the school curriculums. But I don't know if that ever happened. But I know in the home construction program, everything happened.
You have a military background. What's your theory in terms of how do we protect ourselves as a society versus are we building up our prisons way too much in this state?
Oh, the prisons are a serious issue. Yeah, we need to reduce the size of prisons. First of all, the issue with legalizing or decriminalizing hemp, cannabis, in fact.
For or against?
I'm for decriminalizing cannabis.
All right.
Cannabis is a small issue of the entire hemp product. That hemp product can help build the roads, which we have a problem with. The material from there can help do the clothing, can do plastics, can do a whole bunch of different things that we use in everyday life with no pollution.
So this will be on the ballot, recreational marijuana. You'll vote for it?
I will. Again, I'm against the use of the word marijuana because marijuana is a Mexican term.
Okay.
It's not an American term. We use cannabis in this state. Not that that makes a difference, but as the government flips terminology around, they make marijuana look like a bad guy. But they were using hemp before the 40s and 50s, and the chemical industry and the oil industry and the pharmaceutical industry had it banned.
And for law enforcement and other people who are against it, who say this is the entry way into harder and more violent drugs, and that it's going to lead to increased problems with safety in our society and criminals?
History before the 40s showed otherwise, showed that that wasn't true. The problem is that when the media and the government got behind the corporations and pushed for the illegal laws on marijuana, they did it for a different reason. It wasn't for the reason that marijuana was bad. It was for the reason that they didn't want the competition of hemp. Hemp needs to be a major product in the state of Michigan. We need to use that our agricultural industry to grow hemp in this state. And then, like I said, cannabis is a small issue from it. We know that we have endocrine, I can't even think of the name at the moment, in our bodies that accept CBD oil, that accept the stuff from the hemp products. That's part of our system. We can, presently consume hemp in the form of seeds or oils, but the CBD oil is actually a healthy oil for us.
All right, we need to take a final commercial break, and we'll hurry right back with some final questions.
Sure.
Stay with us. What's your position on guns?
I've been shooting all my life, from high school on up through the military. I shot in high school on the ROTC program and won top 10 in the city awards for shooting .22 rifle, and in the Army M14 rifle in competition at Camp Perry, Ohio, and wherever. So I'm a strong advocate for the Second Amendment and the right to bear arms.
What about rapid fire weapons that they commonly call assault weapons?
We do not have rapid fire as in the word machine gun. That's not lawful. I can't purchase one. I don't have a license to do so. You'd have to have a special class 3 license. So machine guns are illegal to begin with, and if somebody has one, they're breaking the law, and they should be severely punished for breaking the law. But as far as law-abiding citizens having the use of semi-automatic weapons, and if you're considering, I would love to know what an assault weapon is. Nobody's been able to describe that. They say shoots a lot of bullets. Well, anything shoots a lot of bullets if you keep loading it. So I don't understand what that terminology means. So if you want to explain what an assault weapon is, I'll be glad to
all right, semi-automatic. The weapons that we see people walking. That's right. Weapons that we see people walking into schools, doing a lot of damage, a lot of fatalities in a very short period of time, unloading a lot of bullets and bigger than a handgun.
If you're considering the AR, which is Armor All, that's what the A stands for, Armor All rifle, AR rifle. It doesn't mean assault weapon or assault rifle. It's Armor All. That's the guy that made the manufacturer that makes that rifle. That particular rifle, as well as all of the other rifles that carry, my M14 carries 15 rounds, and the M1 Grand carries 8 rounds in a clip. The other ones have magazines, and they can be loaded and unloaded, but the whole theory of the right to bear arms is to protect ourselves from a runaway government. And so what we need to have in our situation is, if the police can have that particular rifle, so can that individual, because we delegate the power to the police departments. In a republic, we are in control. So we tell the police department, we're going to allow you to have a AR, assault rifle, or a Armor All rifle, and you're going to be able to use that to protect yourself, but the citizen can also have that rifle. Now, if you're using it against the law, if you're going into a school right now, which is a gun-free zone, if you had a situation where you're not supposed to be in there, you're breaking the law to begin with. So we really need to enforce the laws that are on the books that have not been enforced properly. There's thousands of laws on guns.
All right, a couple other subjects. Time's our worst enemy here, so I'm going to try to sneak them in before we run all out of time. Auto insurance reform.
We got to get rid of no fault, because no fault was written by the insurance companies and for the benefit of the insurance companies. And you make it a kind of a monopoly where the insurance companies have control, and you have to have insurance, so you have to purchase it. This does not give the open free market, whereas if we had no fault insurance and you had to buy your own insurance, you could shop in wherever, in Kentucky or Tennessee or across the state lines to get insurance to cover your car. That'll bring the costs down.
All right. Do you believe that the state of Michigan is currently moving in the right direction in terms of teacher pensions?
No, no. I was a teacher. I know what the efforts go on to being a teacher. Not only was I physically on the job site with the kids, but I was ordering lumber at night, not sometimes 9, 10 o'clock at night. As an English teacher, I was correcting papers until way hours of the night. So that period of time that I'm in the classroom doesn't cover those periods of time that I'm actually out of the classroom preparing for the next day. So you're going to either bring the teacher's salaries up to par with everybody else that's working, or you're going to give them a benefit such as the retirement, which is why one of the reasons I was involved in the teaching program, because it had a good retirement program.
The single biggest environmental issue that Michigan ought to be concerned with?
Pollution. Water pollution, air pollution, and electronic pollution.
Final question. If you're able to win the primary as a Libertarian candidate, get into the final, do you believe that you should be a part of any debates with Republicans and Democrats in this state?
Fabulous question. I absolutely think we have to be involved, because the Republicans and Democrats have been doing everything they can to protect each other and not get the real truth out, and the Libertarians have an opportunity to make a change there. We have to be in the debates.
All right, I lied to you. I said last question. This is the last question, but it's a quick, easy one. Your favorite movie that says something about you?
Oh my goodness. There's a lot of favorite movies out there.
Give me one.
I like Patton, actually.
Okay. All right.
Probably because of my military background, probably because of who Patton was himself and what he did to the war effort.
All right. John Tatar, thank you so much for coming in. Pleasure talking with you. Good luck on the campaign trail, and good luck on Election Day.
Thank you very much.
And I'm Chuck Stokes. We'll be back next week with more Newsmakers in the Spotlight. We hope you have a great week.